Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Youngkin defeats Terry McAuliffe to become the next governor of Virginia. So apparently, President Trump is a lot more popular, a lot more admired than Democrats and media would like to admit. This was supposed to be a referendum on Trump. This was supposed to be some kind of message pertaining to why Democrats are better. They can't even pass their budget. Manchin, Cinema, there are other Democrats that don't even want, nobody even knows why Biden's budget is good for the country. I mean, the average person on the left or the average Democratic voter can't even tell you why the $1.7 trillion or $3.5 trillion budget is good for the economy, how it'll help them. And the message is that, well, we're not Trump. That's it. That's the only thing they have. We're not Trump. They don't have any message at all other than we're not Trump. And that obviously didn't work tonight. Hit subscribe to this channel, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. To my super chat, I can't do this without you. Ladies and gentlemen, I was telling people on this channel that we're going to have an epic live stream. And I was saying, I was saying that Glenn Youngkin was going to win, but I was just a bit concerned with the fair and neutral mail-ins, and I said if everything works out in the manner that it should, Glenn Youngkin will win. So Wall Street Journal, Glenn Youngkin wins Virginia governor's race. BBC, Glenn Youngkin, Republican set to win Virginia governor race. So, you cannot tell parents that they don't have a right or they don't have a say in what their kids are being taught. That's number one. You can't do that. Democrats feel that the state is more important, supersedes the family. They feel that whatever the state says, as long as they're running the country or the government, not when Trump is, not when Glenn Youngkin is, but when they're behind the wheel or when they're in power, oh, you better believe you have to revere. That's why Let's Go Bob is so popular, and they can't stand it. They have every single conceivable advantage. They can't stand it. They cannot stand it. To my super chat again, thank you. I can't do this without you. Eric, H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so much for being amazing moderators, ladies and gentlemen. Luke, I hope all is well. Eric, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric has a YouTube and an Odyssey channel. So, please subscribe to his YouTube and Odyssey channels. Glenn Youngkin, it's interesting. I also knew, I'm like, well, you know what? This wasn't just the average, this wasn't just the average Republican or Democrat. He was part of the Carlyle Group, is a very influential D.C. investment firm. So he probably understood politics and what it took to win in Virginia, just as well as Terry McAuliffe, who basically is a very slimy, a lifelong Democrat who was investigated by the FBI for campaign finance issues, and his investigation, by the way, was warranted. It wasn't like Trump's investigation where the FBI had hyper-partisan Democratic Party loyalists going after him because of a dossier that now the Durham Probe special counsel is uncovering was just a plot to take down an incoming president. So now you have two indictments. One, the latest one, the attorney from a very influential Democratic Party linked law firm linked to the Clintons. This attorney apparently lied to the FBI and said, I wasn't working for the Clinton campaign. Of course he was. Of course the FBI knew also. So that's a whole other story. But the dossier was completely discredited. So when they say, well, Trump was investigated too, it's like, well, yeah, but not really. He didn't do anything. There was a suspicion that he worked with Russia because of a dossier purchased by the DNC and Clinton. It was literally a myth that they purchased. Terry McAuliffe was investigated by the FBI for links to billionaires in other countries. Okay, Democrats need to be linked to money because they don't believe. You think Terry McAuliffe believes anything? Any type of, critical theory, or do you think any of the Democrats believe this? They voted for Biden, who wrote the crime bill. Any critical theory on society that critiques society and fails to mention that Biden actually boasted at one point about the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity, or I should say admitted to writing the portion of the crime bill that talked about that resulted in a 100-to-1 sentencing disparity. 100 people of color to one person that looked like his son for the same narcotic, the same illegal narcotic his son is linked to. But it's an awesome day or awesome evening because they have every single advantage. Do you understand? They have every single advantage they lost. Every single possible advantage. And they keep on bringing up January. Well, charge somebody for sedition. Otherwise, stop bringing it up as if it's like Pearl Harbor. Yeah, it was a terrible, tragic day. Most of the people who lost their lives were supporters of Trump. It was a terrible, tragic day. Should never have taken place. Yes, I agree. But if you can't charge anybody with sedition, and if you can't prove that in a court of law that anybody tried to overthrow the government, then stop with the rhetoric. They literally had to. Terry McAuliffe, he's like the slimiest politician around. He literally had to, along with the Lincoln Project, another disgraced group of political operatives who, by the way, opposed marriage equality. They had to purchase a bunch of horrible people. They had to literally, buy the services, purchase the services of Democrats and give them tiki torches because there just weren't enough people. There weren't enough tiki torch, horrible monster people that aligned with Republicans because, guess what? They don't align with Republicans. Democrats need these myths. If they don't have these myths, okay? I do so many segments on Alec Baldwin because it is a nightmare to see this type of individual on Twitter today going after Joe Manchin. He ended someone's life last week. It takes a week for the mourning process to just end and them to turn the page. Less than a week. He's already going after. He's already pontificating and preaching and condemning and judging and giving sermons and his wonderful political analysis. He's already back on Twitter. And then I'll get to today. Today he's like, oh yeah, he's retweeting somebody who said the set was safe. It's like, there was literally a safety walkout, literally a protest of camera crew, and when they came back, they were replaced by non-union labor. Literally replaced by non-union labor. So, and in addition to accidental discharges, blanks, and everything, blanks and live rounds and dummy rounds, all mixed together. I mean, it was an endless. It was an absolute catastrophe in terms of safety. And every day we're finding out that it wasn't just a tragic accident. It was the Hollywood equivalent of a drunk driver ending someone's life. But again, I mean, you have to understand the mentality. The mentality is that if they don't have these myths, they don't win. If they don't have the myth, the hysteria, the paranoia, the emotions that they wield to condemn and judge and to make themselves feel so good, if they don't have Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert and John Oliver and Seth Meyer and the Washington Post and the New York Times and MSNBC and CNN and all of Hollywood and every social media algorithm possible, they're now even banning Let's Go Bob now. There's literally nothing they won't suppress and silence because ideas are their kryptonite. Actual ideas. Ideas are their kryptonite. That's why they have to like tubing themselves when it comes to climate change. They feel so good about themselves when it comes to saving the planet. They don't realize that fossil fuels are at an all-time high in terms of demand and price. Coal, natural gas, oil, fossil fuels the demand is through the roof. You would think, and they fly to these conferences on private jets. You better believe they're not doing the Zoom conference. Just like Alec Baldwin hired non-union labor. Doug McMenamin, Doug, hello. YouTube not letting me ask a question. I know. It depends. I know. Doug, thank you so very much. I know how it is. The algorithm is pretty strict when it comes to, you kind of have to work around it. Doug, thank you so very much. You kind of have to work around it. It's a situation where, I apologize, Doug, thank you. It's a situation where you kind of have to work around it. So if you want to ask a question, you kind of have to go. You have to ask it in a roundabout way. But Doug, thank you so very, very much. So instead of let's go, you just say let's go Bob. Because, it's just, that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's no, there's no freedom of speech anymore. We don't have freedom of speech because Democrats can't possibly exist with freedom of speech, because their ideas don't stand up to even minor critique. So they have to say, well, Trump embodies this, and he represents that, and he is the epitome of this, and it's always this fabricated, this fantasy. This hysterical fantasy And nobody's buying it anymore. Everyone's tired. They realize what happened. People realize now. They traded in Trump's bad personality but great economy. Or I should say, I don't think he has a bad personality, but abrasive personality to them. Horrible personality to them. They like I said, they didn't want Trump's tweets. They didn't want Trump's tweets. So now they have mashed potato brains, inflation soaring, a supply chain breakdown. I mean, every possible issue they have now. So, Doug, thank you so very, very much. They have every single possible advantage. Okay? Every single possible advantage. And still, it wasn't enough. And this was supposed to be a referendum on Trump. It turned out to be a referendum on Democrats. Biden's poll numbers are in the tank. See, when Trump's poll numbers were artificially suppressed. They didn't treat him like a president. They treated him like a monster. They never gave him the benefit of the doubt. They had every social media algorithm, all of Hollywood, all he got was negative media coverage. With Biden, it's the opposite. They're propping him up. And still, the country is tired. Half the country is like, nah, didn't want him. And then you have a sizable percentage of the people who did vote for him who have buyer's remorse. They're tired. It didn't take long. The Afghanistan debacle, where Trump gave him the Doha agreement, and he just literally utilized America's mortal enemies as security. He utilized, we'll call them the T-ban, as security. Okay? Does that make any sense? Only a complete imbecile would do that. Okay? Only a complete imbecile would do that. And then you have, on the economic front, just a horrible rebound. An absolutely horrible rebound. It's not even a rebound. We're probably entering into a recession. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. That'll be below. And so it's like you have every single advantage. All of late night. You have all of Hollywood. And it's always based on sensibilities. Oh my goodness. Do you see how horrible the Trumpers are, the Republicans are, our democracy? And the funny thing is, they keep on utilizing Lincoln Project political rhetoric. Okay? They're utilizing, ladies and gentlemen, the Lincoln Project political rhetoric. Lincoln Project political rhetoric. The Lincoln Project political rhetoric is the hysterical Bush-era our democracy is at stake nonsense. Okay? It helped Bush, but he also ran on a marriage amendment. And so the Lincoln Project should have been canceled a long time ago, these people. But the left is double standard. They have double standard all the time. That's all they have is a double standard. That's how they roll. If they see something is beneficial to them politically, they look the other way, and then they just pretend to be outraged. Only at political rivals. That's it. Only at political rivals. But let's see. Let's see what's going on Twitter. I don't have Twitter, thank God. So, the good thing about the Youngkin win is that McAuliffe just can't keep counting. So, he's pretty much won. McAuliffe is the worst candidate of all time. He's probably even worse than Biden, who was the worst presidential candidate of all time. But let's just see here. They're calling it dangerous as always. So let's like MSNBC. The Republican Party is currently and knowingly harboring an insurgency. Currently knowing. They live in this world. It's blue anon. That's what the world they live in. Then they're like, this is hilarious. Then they're like, hyper politicization of school boards. You're the ones who are forcing certain theories or certain curriculum upon families. It's like, you politicize school boards. You. Parents have a right to voice their discontent. Okay? See, the way they twist everything, and this is why Youngkin won, the way they twist everything is like, you're politicizing school if you disagree with the government. It's like, no, you're politicizing education and academics and curriculum when you impose certain social theories or certain curriculum that helps one political party or is maybe doesn't adhere to reality or doesn't correlate with reality or maybe promotes division, according to the parents in Virginia. So the way they look at things is, oh, well, you know, anyone who disagrees with us obviously doesn't understand how intelligent and how morally superior we are. So therefore, you're politicizing everything because you don't agree with us. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. They have a right to be upset. They have a right to voice their discontent. And then the Republicans are running a policy-free campaign. No, they're actually full of policies. You just disagree with them. It's Democrats who. What's the budget about? Free kindergarten? I guess that's good. Well, how about helping the economy? What does Biden's budget do to help the economy? Nothing. There aren't millions of green jobs. That does not exist. It does not exist. If anything, fossil fuels are at an all-time high in terms of demand and price. Natural gas is double the price. There are commodities traders that are buying $200 per barrel oil. Calls on $200 per barrel oil. How did that happen? Oh, that's right. You focus on climate change and you make it difficult. You make it extremely difficult to extract fossil fuels at a time when we're trying to rebound economically. It makes no sense at all. It just increases the demand for fossil fuels, but they don't get that. What on earth is the Democrats are so policy free? Even Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema oppose their policies. Even Democrats oppose their own policies. My God Almighty, they don't even agree with their own. They don't even agree. Their political party doesn't even agree with the policies. Jeffrey, thank you. So, but let's just look at the meltdown here. Here, this is typical MSNBC pundit. A political friend asked me tonight, but where did this theory thing in Virginia come from? Me, nowhere. Them, but it must be based on something. Me, nope, it's based on nothing. Them, confused emoji. They couldn't believe it. Normal people can't believe this stuff works. How this stuff works. It's like, no, they're so clueless. It's based on narcissism. They're such narcissists, it's unbelievable. They're such narcissists, it's unbelievable. They can't possibly. First of all, they're not proud of what they stand for. You could simply say, hey, you know what? These theories we believe. But they don't even stand for them. They utilize them for political gain to a point. Then they retreat and say, well, they're not being taught. Why don't you stand by them? If you truly believe a certain theory is moral, then stand by it. Don't just say, well, it's not being taught. Yeah, but it's not. It might not be the name. It might not be taught with the same name that you're referring to, but it's still being accepted and adopted by teachers. So here we have Glenn Youngkin's Virginia gubernatorial campaign coded hysteria into its not hysteria. The hysteria is the inability to see. So hold on. Let's see. This is hilarious. Let's look at a political pundit. Basically, he has, 1 million subs. Yeah, basically a Democratic political operative. So, let's see. Oh, they're still they're and look, this may have played no role. Maybe the media helped whitewash the non-existent CRT as an issue of education. Maybe was always thinly veiled. Oh, here, thinly veiled, you know what? And GOP voters responded. Or maybe your social theories you are embarrassed of, or you don't believe in, or you're utilizing the plight of the most important demographic of voters in the Democratic Party to your political advantage, only up to a certain point. When it becomes detrimental to you politically, then you retreat and say, wow, we weren't standing by this. Stand by. This is the thing. They don't believe in their own ideologies. That's why when they get called out, they just retreat and say, well, we're not talking about that. Let's look at what the $20 million venture capital people. That should be fun. Let's look at the person who tried to challenge a black belt in jiu-jitsu and taekwondo to a fight. Let's see what he said. Okay, so hold on. Now that Terry McAuliffe seems like he has lost, the countdown begins to all of Washington blaming progressives. It's a Washington ritual for the dumb and corrupt. So you'll soon see it all over TV, even though McAuliffe is the most establishment candidate you could dream of. As predicted, mainstream media saying the most establishment politician of our lifetime, Terry McAuliffe, losing shows Democrats have gone too far to the left. So when progressives lose, it's our fault. First of all, you're not even progressive. This person who's speaking, I don't even want to get into it. He is the establishment. That's how he got $20 million in venture capital funding. So when progressives lose, it's our fault. When corporate Democrats lose, he is a corporate Democrat. My God. He's so corporate, he had to leave Justice Democrats because of his offensive writing. It's so convoluted. I can't even explain it. And then he was endorsed for a second by Bernie Sanders, and then I unendorse you. I endorse and then unendorse you. Conrad! It was McAuliffe's to lose. The D show their true colors by, yep, this doesn't mean I trust signature. Conrad, thank you. Conrad, thank you so very, very much. Conrad, thank you. I hope all is well. So they're at a loss for words because let's see what another. I'm really interested. Oh yeah. It'll be very interesting to see. It's so interesting to see how. It's so interesting to see how their obsession with Dave Rubin is psychotic. I'm trying to look now. This one person didn't even write about. He's just retweeting disparaging things about Dave Rubin's. It is frightening, their obsession with Dave Rubin. It's frightening. Let's look at what another YouTube pundit. Nope, haven't even discussed. They're not even touching it. They're not even touching it. They're not even touching the loss. Hold on, let's just see it. Let's see what. Let's look at another. Far right. Trumpism. Let's look at what one journalist was talking about. Trump is already fundraising off Youngkin's big win. Well, what do you think Biden would be doing if that slimy, lifelong Democrat won who was investigated by the FBI? My God. They can't possibly come to terms with this. They can't possibly come to terms with this. Oh, let's look at what like Harvard faculty is. And of course, going after Louis Gohmert. This man is a certifiable idiot, and with ignorance, his depth is beyond imagination. It's like he's a congressman. Louis Gohmert is pretty awesome, by the way. But the scary part is he's a voting member of the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm not making it up. It's like, yeah, you are making it up. That's you are making it up. They're so apoplectic, always so apoplectic. If you don't listen to us, you're a bad garbage human. You're a bad person. We lost. Oh, my God. This is like... This is what happens when you don't have... I'll just keep this at a minimum. This is what happens when you don't have 10,000 billion, billion, trillion, billion, 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 trillion ballots that just happen to fly in or happen to... when the counting doesn't continue forever, this is what happens. When the counting continues forever, okay. Southern strategy. No, it's not Southern strategy. No, it's not Southern strategy. Which, by the way, Karl Rove and the Lincoln Project people, those are the types of people who utilized that strategy. Okay, here's the issue. This is what they don't get regarding the whole CRT thing. They don't believe in it. They utilize it only to a certain extent. They don't even believe in their own theories. They use it to try to convey this message that they're left-leaning. Then they say, no, we don't teach it in schools. Well, what's the problem? I thought isn't it a moral, just theory? Doesn't it help, from the Democratic Party perspective, doesn't it help society? Why don't you stand by it, you hypocrites and you disingenuous fakes and phonies? Stand by it. This is why McAuliffe lost. Because then they say, why, you know what? If you disagree with a theory that we're trying to pretend we don't agree with, even though we do, then you are a bad person. It's like, no, you're the horrible people. You're not even standing by a belief system that you believe only when it's advantageous for you to believe. If it's politically expedient, yeah, definitely you believe in it. Lost in this is the defense of these theories. Papanaya Shelley! The Dems are huddling up, getting their talking points together before they speak publicly. Exactly. By the way, that New Jersey race might have some Dem shenanigans. I wouldn't doubt it. Papanaya Shelley, I wouldn't doubt it. Even that is going to be interesting. William Holloway, New Jersey. Shalom, H.A. Thank you so very, very much. William, thank you. Shalom. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. So, Phil Murphy, by the way, is the worst governor of all time. The fact that, yes, my God. Oh my God. Murphy is actually, wow. You know what? Let's listen to this for a second. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I'm not even gonna touch upon this. We'll just listen to this in a second. Oh my goodness. Hold on one second. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. So they're going to lose New Jersey. Hopefully. Let's see here. Still too close to call. Murphy was the worst governor. He had, in terms of you know what, he had the absolute worst outcomes. And they're still up. He leads film. Wow. This is amazing. This is a huge night. Really a huge night. I mean, it's pretty amazing. William, thank you. Papanaya Shelley, thank you. It really is. Phil Murphy was the worst governor. And I'm so glad, hopefully, he'll lose. And this is the thing. They don't, you see the Emmys, you see President Obama's birthday party. You see Gavin Newsom, you see, what's her name in Michigan, Whitmer, Nancy Pelosi. They don't believe in any of the protocols. They just want to impose their ironclad rule upon everyone. Mikhail Archangel! Me gave a contract to Jovan Hutton Pulitzer and did the thing that she can't mention. Affidavits, knowledge of the law, work thanks to God, brave men, Attorney DePerno and Bill Bailey of Michigan, Dave Jose and Josh Barnett of Arizona. Mikhail Archangel, thank you. I hope all is well. Mikhail, thank you so very, very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. I hope all is well. Okay, so let's just see here. I'm trying to get a... Let's see here. Hold on one second.
Republican Jack Chitterelli wrapped up his long campaign with
you can't hear this.
Stops at Somerset County Diner.
So I'm trying to get something about Jack Chitterelli. But see, here's the thing. They're not...
Republican Jack Chitterelli.
Okay, so hold on one second.
Also addressed his supporters tonight from his headquarters.
Republican Jack Ciattarelli also addressed his supporters tonight from his headquarters in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Let's listen in.
You know what? I love Jack too.
Me too.
You've been here, some of you have been here for 5 hours. The headquarters for Phil Murphy is empty.
Yeah.
You've been with me for the 22 months that I've been a candidate for governor. Every time the press has asked me, where do you get your energy? I said, where do I get my energy? Take a look at the people showing up at these rallies. You guys are the fuel in my tank. You're the wind in my sails. You're my energy source. Keep it coming.
So, this is like a political slaughter. Roger Rabbit! Perhaps the real tragic came from ball. Roger Rabbit! Roger Rabbit, I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Thank you so very much, Roger Rabbit, for the kind words always. Thank you for the support and the kind words. It means a great deal to me, Roger Rabbit. And as well, Mikhail Archangel, thank you so very much for the kind words. Roger Rabbit, thank you so very much. As always, Mikhail, Roger Rabbit, thank you. Roger Rabbit, thank you. So you have Jack Ciattarelli who can win, Glenn Youngkin winning. This is a political slaughter for Democrats. Everybody, look, they don't believe. First of all, they don't believe in the climate change hysteria. Climate change is a very important issue. It is. It is a very important issue. They don't believe in any of the hysteria. Even John Kerry was like, yeah, you know what? If we went to zero emissions, it wouldn't make a dent. Because China emits 1/3 of global emissions of carbon. 1/3. So around 33% is one country that has the Paris Climate Accords. There's no mechanism to keep anyone accountable. So it's all public relations. Oh, we're doing something good for the planet. And it's like, you're actually, because of your hysterical thought process, making fossil fuels, you're putting them in greater demand. But then again, because they don't believe in anything that they pontificate about, the opposite takes place. So instead of their certain theories becoming mainstream or them standing by certain theories, they say, well, if you disagree, you're a bad person. Well, why don't you defend it? If you believe in it, defend it. Say, yeah, we want to teach it in schools. Well, when they say, well, we're not teaching it in schools, why not? Isn't it good? Terry McAuliffe and Everett Joy Reid and those, oh, we're not teaching it in schools. Well, why not? Isn't it a good thing? Isn't it moral? Isn't it a morally superior social theory? Isn't CRT morally superior? Why don't you stand by it? Why are you so petrified and afraid? Maybe because you're liars. Why don't you say, yes, this is a morally superior theory. We're going to stand by it. We believe in it. Why don't you simply say that? And then we can go from there and have a political dialogue. But they don't say that. Like, oh, you disagree with it. And this is just thinly veiled bigotry. Like, no, it's not. They disagree with the theory. You're not standing by your ideas. You're pretending you believe in them and then jettisoning them when you find out, oh, it's bad for politics. So then you sheepishly say, well, we're not teaching them. Same with climate change. They're like, there's no Green New Deal legislation. There's a resolution. And the first thing Biden did is he made it more difficult for fracking, and then natural gas goes up in price. So fossil fuels are more in greater demand now. Everything they push for, the opposite takes place. And there's nothing in Biden's budget that's going to The budget itself is opposed by business groups at a time when we have an economy that's barely functioning. We have supply chain breakdowns, inflation rampant, GDP being revised downward, real final sales in negative territory. Read my article in the Federalist, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be below in the pinned comment. Subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a great segment on Shiba Inu. You'll find out what that is. If you don't know what it is, go to the Stock Market Crash channel. I'll give you the link right now. Here's the link, ladies and gentlemen. But here's the link, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mikhail Archangel. Thank you for becoming a member, or for being a member for 4 months. And there was another member also earlier this live stream. Thank you. But, Paul, hello. But they don't believe in anything. Like, they don't believe. If you believe in climate change, then push for a Green New Deal legislation, not resolution. They're such hypocrites. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how hypocritical they are. Doug McMenamin, you are a friend to all of us and do great work. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated, Doug. Great night for all of us, Doug. Great night for all of us. Oh my God, Doug, they're melting down. They're melting. They're melting. They are melting, everyone. Doug, thank you again. Great. Thank you for the kind words. They don't know what to say, so the fact that McAuliffe lost, he didn't just lose because of CRT. He lost because he's slimy. Terry McAuliffe doesn't believe anything he says, and he's linked to very shady, very, 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 very shady campaign finance issues. So, like I said, he was investigated by the FBI for links to a billionaire from another country. You could find out which country that is. So, thank you, Doug. Thank you, Roger Rabbit. Mikhail, thank you so very much. Let's look at let's look at some of the, so I'm trying to find out. They're not even touching it. And if Murphy loses, if Murphy loses to Jack Ciattarelli, which he should, that will be a political slaughter. And I'll tell you something right now. I know you're gonna say, "Oh, that's not, you know what? That's a weird take." Or if you get JG, I'm officially 2 months old. What a great gift to the people of Virginia, and I keep tubing it. I will. JG, always a pleasure and an honor for me. JG, thank you so very much. Always a pleasure, JG. Thank you. What a great victory and gift. Exactly. What a great victory and gift. It's so true. It's so true. Here, this is one of, for many Virginia voters, it seems the imaginary CRT crisis. It's imaginary in the minds of the losers, not in the minds of people who voted against McAuliffe. It's so hilarious. Was more important than the preventable demise of 400,000 Americans. That has nothing to do with anything. The January attack and the GOP war on democracy. Well, democracy is not defined as what's good for the Democratic Party. They always talk the GOP war on democracy. What about the Democratic Party war on democracy? Oh, no, we're not engaged in it. You are. You're engaged in a big battle. We're trying to defend democracy. Really? By imposing everything upon, by imposing your sensibilities upon the entire planet? You want to defend democracy with what? Labor shortages and supply chain breakdowns and runaway inflation? Thanks for defending democracy. Let's see what another that was a liberal journalist. Biden won the state by 10, and now McAuliffe loses. McAuliffe is also a bad candidate. It's not just Biden being horrendous, because he's horrendous. Biden is tanking. What's happening is What's happening is they're descending into Twitter madness. The Democratic Party lives on Twitter. Okay? They live on Twitter. Without social media, they don't really exist. Their ideas, they don't even stand by their ideas. They're embarrassed by their own theories and ideas. That's why they're like, well, this is not really what's going on. Let's look at what Chris Cuomo is saying. Please tell me Alec Baldwin didn't tweet something. Please, for the love of God. He's insufferable. Oh, now his tweets are protected. Okay. Because the man is doesn't stop tweeting. It took him, I don't even want to get into it. Let's see here. Hold on one second. Let's look at what Chris Cuomo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Christopher C. Cuomo. Sorry. Very weird profile thing here. No, nobody's touching it. Oh, then now they're getting upset with Southwest. Oh, Adam Kinzinger doesn't like the Southwest pilot. Adam Kinzinger, who's not running because of Trump. Adam Kinzinger, right? If a pilot said the equivalent about Trump, the same folks defending this one would be outraged at the other, to a point. But you had Robert De Niro saying that, so hashtag tribalism. No, tribalism is what Adam Kinzinger is about. He sold his soul to the Democratic Party. He picked a tribe. That's his tribal. The tribalism there is Adam Kinzinger voting for Trump 90% of the time in Congress, according to 538, and then pretending that he's this moral, good conservative who's fighting Trump's personality. He's a bad personality. It's like, no, the tribalism is embodied by Adam Kinzinger. He's the one who's like this pawn of CNN and the Democratic Party, just regurgitating the Lincoln Project nonsense. And it's like, let's go, Bob, because I don't even want to take a chance because they probably already suppressed it. Let's go, Bob is a hilarious consequence of Biden's completely failed, miserably failed mashed potato brain presidency. Okay? So, and then they're gonna ban the other one, then they'll ban Let's Go Bob, then it'll be Let's Go Bridget. Okay? They'll ban that too. Let's go, Bridget. What? No, bad. Then they'll ban Let's Go Bubba. Oh, no, don't bring my name into this. I love this. Adam Kinzinger is talking about tribalism. He's the definition of tribalism. They're so happy with the climate change. coverage. They feel so good about themselves. They're all flying in their jets, polluting the environment. Then when you call them out on it, they're like, oh, like, how are they supposed to get there, huh? What about a Zoom meeting, you hypocrites? You don't want that, do you? Don't want the Zoom. Zoom bad. Don't like it to Zoom, do you? You don't like it to Zoom. Don't like it to Zoom meeting. Love Rob Schneider, by the way. Love Rob Schneider. How can you not love Rob Schneider? Shout out to Rob Schneider. I love him. Okay. So, let's look at this. They were just unhappy. They lose New Jersey also. Adventures, hello. You can do it. I love Rob Schneider. This is an example, ladies and gentlemen, of what happens when you have a president who wins only because all of media, all of social media, all of Hollywood, corporations. This is what happens when Major League Baseball moves its All-Star game and they don't even know why. Everyone wants to be with the most unintelligent. Everyone wants to align with the most unintelligent intelligentsia of all time. The American intelligentsia, the smartest people in the room in our country, the thought leaders, the people who have imposed their sensibilities upon the entire country, are the biggest bunch of imbeciles who don't even believe. Most of them don't even believe their own ideologies. Or they don't walk the walk. They don't live in the manner they want other people to live. That's why you always catch people who are breaking protocol. And then they just, if you don't follow protocol, oh my God. But if they're breaking protocol, oh well, it's the Emmys. When you have Hollywood and the intelligence agencies telling you about morality, you have a big problem. You have a huge problem. That's why people are rejecting all of it. Exactly, Billy, exactly. Then you have, this is hilarious too, you have Facebook changing its name to Meta. Whatever. It's the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life. This man, Glenn Youngkin, he was, when you are a DC venture capitalist, you know a great deal about politics. So he wasn't. He probably knew more about a winning campaign than even McAuliffe, who only wins because he's sold his soul to the Democratic Party. Only one. Lifelong Democrat. I used to be a lifelong Democrat till thank God I left. My God. So, we'll go 10 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have, unfortunately, a devastating stock market crash. And let's just see. Okay, so hold on. Let's just see. Let's just see the... let's just see the. I'm trying to get the. I'm trying to think of like a left-leaning pundit. Okay, so let's. They're not touching it. Oh, let's look at what the View. Let's look at what Joy Behar is saying. Is she saying anything? Nope. Wait, no, is she? Nope, not saying anything. What's the View official page saying? So, thank you, Jaden Kerr. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Jaden. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you again, Jaden. I'm going to say something right now that you might say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Trump losing, and if we get New Jersey also, and then a red wave of epic proportions in 2022, and it actually is going to help him. He'll come back a lot stronger. A lot stronger. 2024 will be a completely different ballgame. You're going to have investigations, endless investigations into Biden, who is actually corrupt. Trump's not corrupt. They found nothing on him. If you actually had a functioning director or a director who didn't cover for Madam Secretary. Okay, there was illegal activity with Hunter, with top secret intelligence on servers. Trump, there was no illegal activity. They got people on allegedly lying to Peter Strzok. So let's just see really quickly. So Terry McAuliffe lost, which is so hilarious. It's just so hilarious. They can't understand why. Of course, you have to understand when they lose, it's actually an indictment on your morality. That's what happens. And they're still upset. Democracy's at stake. Democracy is at stake. They have it. Well, what more do you want? Well, now you're losing left and right, but if you don't think we're losing, this is Rob Reiner. If you don't think we're losing our democracy, you're not paying attention. Well, what more do you want? What more do you? You have the House, the Senate. Well, now you don't have Virginia anymore. You probably don't have New Jersey. You're losing. Okay, your definition of democracy, yes, you're losing. Because people realize that the left or the Democratic Party is completely full of it. That's why, look, Mashed Potato Brains won because all of media propped him up. All of media. And social media. And Silicon Valley. And Hollywood. And DC. And Never Trump Republicans. So, and President Trump still got 73 million Americans. So, it's actually like how things are turning out is actually the best case scenario for President Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I'm going to call it an evening. We had an amazing time. Thank you to my super chat. Thank you. I will, of course, update you on the latest saga pertaining to Alec Baldwin tomorrow morning. Everything is so bizarre, it's unbelievable. It's just so weird. Now there's a fifth person who handled the firearm. It's just so... Every day there's a new revelation. So, of course, I'll update you then. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless everybody here. Thank you so much. JG, Eric, Luke, thank you, everybody. Mikael, thank you. Roger Rabbit, thank you. God bless you all. Great, great day. Hopefully Jack Chitterelli wins New Jersey. The people, I've only known the most amazing, awesome, beautiful, awesome people from New Jersey. They deserve the best. They deserve a lot better than Phil Murphy, who's the worst. Phil Murphy makes, actually, I don't even know who's worse, Andrew Cuomo or Phil Murphy. I have no clue. Both, one has a criminal charge. Both should have criminal charges. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Thanks, everybody. Great, great evening. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.